YouTube? This is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and Week 7 is almost done. We do have a game, obviously, for Monday Night Football, but I wanted to get you guys your waiver wire video to get you guys ready for this week upcoming. Reminder, there is obviously a game on Thursday, so make sure you guys are prepared for that. Waivers should be pushed probably Wednesdays when most of you guys receive it. I've been in a few leagues where you get a player right away, but this is your waiver wire video. We want to get, there are a lot, and I mean a lot, to talk about as far as waivers for this week. Now, I'm not going to go into super detail with the quarterbacks and tight ends, but I do want to talk about some running backs and some receivers you should be really considering adding to your team. Obviously, there are bye weeks to consider. There are a lot of injuries, which I'll mention. So let's jump right into this. Now, the first player I want to mention for the quarterback position is going to be Daniel Jones. He's going against the Seahawks this week. He's available in about 60% of most leagues. Now, if you're looking to stream a quarterback or maybe, again, filling in for some bye weeks, Danny Dimes is a great grab for you this week. I even grabbed him in a few of my leagues to fill in for some bye weeks. He put up 28 points yesterday with a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown against the Jaguars. He had over 100 rushing yards. And that's one thing that people will forget about Daniel Jones is how athletic he is and how he's able to run and scramble. Now, he's not the perfect quarterback, but he's been averaging over 17 points so far this season, and he's done a phenomenal job. He's not going to wow you with his numbers, but he does a really good job. If you could get 17 points out of your quarterback consistently, that is amazing. And the fact that he did 28 points yesterday, and I feel he has a pretty good matchup against Seattle. I like him as a good grab this week. Another quarterback you may want to consider is Taylor Heineke against the Colts. Heineke's available in 95% of most leagues. He had a decent first game and it's filling in for Carson Wentz. I've always liked Heineke's play ability. I think he's perfect for this particular team, and I think if they do a good job, I thought he performed actually better than Carson Wentz has this season. He did get a win against the Packers, which is a big deal. And on top of that, he had 2 passing touchdowns. He looked pretty efficient. I think he averaged almost 16 points in this game. I'm not saying he's going to be a start for you this week. Obviously, you'll have to pay attention to my quarterback start video. But I do like Heineke as a possible fill-in for maybe some bye weeks. So I like him a lot this week. Now, as far as running backs go, this is going to be a lot. First guy you should be considering grabbing is Gus Edwards. Going against Tampa Bay this week for a Thursday night game, it's going to be a little bit tough of a defense, but the Bucs just allowed Chuba Hubbard and D'Onta Foreman to just go off on them. Gus scored 2 touchdowns in his first game back. It was a perfect timing with Dobbins going on IR. Now, a lot of hype was obviously Kenyon Drake. I even talked about Kenyon Drake as a good play until Gus Edwards was activated. Gus Edwards is something that Baltimore has been wanting and waiting for since he's been injured. They absolutely love him. He had 18 points this first game, over 65 yards in rushing. He's not necessarily the receiving back, but with the fact that Dobbins is out, Drake will take a few snaps here and there. It is the Gus bus for sure. He's your number 1 waiver wire this pick. You could even consider the next guy I'm talking, but I love Gus Edwards as a good pickup. Now, the next guy I'm going to mention is going to be absolutely tied for that number 1 waiver wire pick is Michael Carter for the Jets. Unfortunately, if you guys watched that game, Breece Hall did have a severe injury. They don't know how severe yet, has not been broken, but they fear it's either a really, really bad sprained ACL, most likely a torn ACL. And Breece Hall was RB1 status the rest of the season. He was doing a phenomenal job. Now, Jets are going against the Patriots. That's a tough matchup, but I like Michael Carter. He is available in 35% of most leagues. So any of you Breece Hall owners, you should absolutely grab him right away. Anybody else who's looking to kind of get a running back to fill in, Michael Carter is a good one for you. Carter had 9 points filling in right afterwards, and Michael Carter has the ability. He could be a big play guy. I don't necessarily think he's got the full talent of Breece Hall, but if they run the ball efficiently like they have done with Breece Hall and really put the effort into it, I like Michael Carter as a solid running back to fill in. Another running back I like this week is going to be D'Onta Foreman. Ever since McCaffrey got traded, nobody knew who was going to be the starting running back. Now, Chuba Hubbard did get the start. He did finish with an ankle injury, so we've got to be careful on that, and we'll talk about that as well. But D'Onta Foreman actually was really efficient. He's available in 51% of most leagues. He did get about 40% of the shares. I think 60% went to Chuba. But Foreman had over 100 rushing yards. Okay, he had 16 points in fantasy. He had a couple receptions to add to that. He didn't get the red zone action like Chuba did, but again, if Chuba is hurt, maybe misses a game or two, Foreman is absolutely a solid RB2 flex play for those games, so I like him a lot. Now, the other running back I do mention you should be grabbing is Chuba Hubbard. He's available in 64% of most leagues. He was actually really efficient. Like I said, he got 60% of the snap share. He did get the red zone action. Again, that injury is a little bit of a concern. He may, again, if you have the space, you may want to put him on there. But he did finish with 15 points. I think that, again, the touchdown helped him. I think Foreman was probably going to be the more efficient back. I think he may end up being the RB1 in that backfield. But the fear is with Carolina, they are going to utilize both of those running backs to fill in for McCaffrey being gone. So just take both Foreman and Hubbard with a grain of salt. But if you're desperate for a fill-in, maybe you've got injuries of your own on your fantasy team, I think one of those running backs would be a good fill. Now, this is a sneaky play I'm going to mention kind of early is Kyren Williams for the Rams. Going against the 49ers, obviously, this week. He is available in 70% of most leagues. Now, right now, the rookie is slated to come back this season. He has not been, there's no date yet. I think they have about 14 days to decide if he's coming back based off of a IR. Now, before his injury, he was expected to have a pretty good role with Akers and then Henderson back behind them. Now, with the whole, obviously, conflict with Cam Akers, the Rams, possible trade, I don't know about a release, but at this point, Akers is pretty much done with LA. Now, the Rams do like Kyren Williams a lot, and I think he's going to end up being the bigger role for above Darrell Henderson. So when he does come back, he's a sneaky play you may want to fill in. Now on to the wide receivers. There's, again, a couple injuries we've got to mention and talk about, which is why some of these players might be some good pickups. Now the first receiver I'm going to actually mention is Wan'Dale Robinson for the Giants. He going against the Seahawks this week, obviously. He's available in 71% of most leagues. 2 weeks now, he has seen double digits as far as fantasy performance goes. He saw 8 targets against the Jags, and his role is increasing. This is a rookie that they had high hopes on. He has been out, obviously, with injuries, but the last 2 weeks he's been able to play. And the fact that he saw 8 targets against the Jags, and he's only going to see more. And it's really, let's be honest, the Giants don't have any great receivers right now. Tony's been injury prone and has not played. Kenny Golladay is not the experiment they were hoping. And then Slayton, maybe, right? Shepard's always been hurt, unfortunately. So right now, Robinson is their number one guy. So I like him a lot as a good, again, streaming receiver, maybe a flex play, but I do like Wan'Dale a lot. Another receiver I like is Paris Campbell going against the Commanders this week. He's available in 96% of most leagues. A lot of people don't trust, obviously, the Indianapolis Colts passing game. Matt Ryan has struggled. Thought he was going to have a great game against the Tennessee Titans. I thought he was going to be a really good start. Unfortunately, flopped, did not play well at all. But Campbell is actually the one shining. The last 2 games, he's seen 23 targets his way, a touchdown in each of the last 2 games as well. Pittman is still the wide receiver 1 for him, but right now he's being covered by the best cornerbacks, and he's struggling. And who's been taking advantage of it has been Paris. Paris has done a phenomenal job the last 2 weeks. I don't know where to kind of put him as far as my rankings right now, but I do like him as a good flex play against the Commanders, who are struggling against the pass. And we'll talk more about that in the start and sit videos for the wide receivers. But I think he's a good matchup pickup you should be grabbing. Another receiver you may want to consider is Marquise Goodwin. Now, Goodwin is not going to replace Metcalf. Now, right now, Metcalf is dealing with a serious knee injury, and there's a possible chance of a torn ACL. We'll see with the news. We'll obviously update. But right now, Goodwin's available in 99% of most leagues. He played well filling in for Metcalf when he did go down. He had 2 touchdowns in this game this past Sunday with only 4 receptions and 67 yards. Now, he could, again, have a bigger role for Seattle. If Metcalf seriously is out, he's going to miss at least a couple of games. But if it is a torn ACL, obviously he'll be finished. Marquise Goodwin becomes the number 1-2 opposite of Lockett. May want to consider grabbing him. Another receiver I like is George Pickens. Now, there is no injuries to the Steelers, that reason why I have Pickens. But right now, Pickens has a great rapport with Pickett. He's available in 43% of most leagues. He had a great game with over 18 points last night. He had 6 receptions and a touchdown. The last 4 games, he has seen an average of 7 targets a game. And realistically, if you watch any of the Steelers game, it's Deontay's kind of the first guy. He's getting the most targets. Pickens is right there. And then Chase Claypool's slowly creeping up and getting some targets. So, and they've pretty much, I wouldn't say given up on Najee Harris, but they've actually feel really confident with Pickett, and they're allowing him to throw the ball a lot. And like I said, the connection between Pickett and Pickens is really showing up. So I like him as a good rest of the season running wide receiver you should be thinking about. Another receiver you should be grabbing is Joshua Palmer for the Chargers. Now, right now, they're a bye week this week. We'll get more information on Mike Williams. Right now, Mike Williams is considered to have a high ankle sprain, so he's probably anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks missing. And the fact that Keenan Allen obviously played very limited. DeAndre Carter's maybe another receiver you may want to consider, but I like Palmer a lot more. I think he's got more talent. Now, he did miss with this past weekend because of a concussion, but he should be cleared after this bye week. So again, another receiver you may want to consider. He's available in 80% of most leagues. Now, the only tight end I recommend this week is going to be Greg Dulcich as far as a waiver wire pickup. It's going against Jaguars for the Broncos. He's available in 89% of most leagues. Dulcich had his second start this week, saw 9 targets in his second start. He finished with 11 points. First game, he had 12 points with 3 receptions and a touchdown. The rookie looks really good, and he has taken over really the tight end 1 for the Broncos. And again, I expect him to see more targets, more snaps his way, more routes run. He's a big play for the Broncos, so I like him as a good tight end you should be considering. Now, those are my week 8 waiver wire pickups. Now, obviously, there may be some changes due to the Monday night game. I always like to record these pretty soon to get you guys kind of in the game and get that edge. But these are my week 8 waiver wires. All right. If you guys did enjoy the content, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell is on. That way you guys are notified every time we drop a video like this. We will be obviously dropping our start sit videos for the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. So make sure, again, that notification bell is on. If you guys also enjoy the content, make sure you hit the like button. It's greatly appreciated. It just shows the love and support for us. This has been an amazing community, and I love seeing the growth that we're having and seeing. You guys are fantastic. If you guys do have questions of who you should be dropping or picking up, or of course, if you have trade questions, because trade deadlines are probably coming up soon for most leagues, hit us up in the comments down below, or you can hit us up on the socials. We're on Twitter and Instagram. Again, make sure you stay tuned. We'll be dropping our start sit videos, and I'll check you guys out next time.